In this video, we are looking at Invest 91L, which is expected to become our next hurricane, which would be named Gabrielle, which could be the next big threat to the Caribbean and US. Here is the current satellite imagery for Thursday, September 4th, and Invest 91L is currently in the area of this circle right here. And this is expected to head westward. The National Hurricane Center has shifted its cone more south, so this is expected to be heading into the Caribbean, which is very dangerous for the for those Gulf states. The entire Caribbean is definitely needs to be on high alert for this storm, as since this is going to be heading into the Caribbean, this has definitely high potential if it does reach the Gulf. And looking at the National Hurricane Center tropical weather outlook for the next 7 days, here is Invest 91L. It has a 90% chance for development over the next week. The cone did get a little more narrower than yesterday. It was kind of broadened out to this kind of area right here. But now it is, again, more south, and it's looking like this is going to be heading into the Caribbean as our next tropical storm and hurricane. Recent satellite imagery suggests the system continues to slowly become better organized with shower and thunderstorm activity along its eastern periphery. Environmental conditions are favorable for additional development of the system, and a tropical depression is likely to form this weekend as it moves slowly westward. And looking at the current satellite imagery close up on 91L, it's definitely not organized at all right now. There's not much thunderstorm activity going on in it. Just kind of a weak low pressure system moving through the Atlantic Ocean. But again, this could become our next big hurricane. And since this is now a invest, in the last videos we were talking that this was a disturbance and not invest yet, but since this is an invest, we have those spaghetti models coming out, model intensity guidance, and what this is showing the models and the potential strength of this storm over the next 160 hours. The majority of these models have it becoming a tropical storm within the next 60 hours. So by this weekend, we could have a tropical storm, a named tropical storm. And then heading into early next week, we could have a Category 1 hurricane with, again, a few models here. And some of these models trending with more consistency, showing that this could become a major hurricane as we had throughout hour 144. So yesterday, models were kind of scattered. They didn't really know what this storm was going to do. Today, these models are looking a bit more consistent and look definitely more worrisome for the Gulf states, the Caribbean, as we continue to watch the system very closely. And here's those model track guidance spaghetti models. As you can see, these models are looking pretty consistent. The majority of these have it heading westward, hitting the Leeward Islands. Some of these a bit more northward, some of these a bit more southward. But again, these are looking very consistent with the current trends going on with this storm. So it's very likely this is going to head to the Caribbean, but it depends on if this is going to impact more of land. So if this impacts areas like the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, it's going to have a tough time developing in the Caribbean. But if it's south of there and it has those good environments to development, this could be, again, a big time hurricane heading towards the Gulf. GPS spaghetti models do have this heading more as a fish storm out to sea. We do have some that, again, head through the Caribbean. So there's still some models that agree that this will head more north and out to sea rather than in the Caribbean. But again, we are seeing more models that show this could be a Caribbean storm. GFS ensembles have us a little more north than the global models, has that black line just to the north of Puerto Rico. And this is what the GFS was showing yesterday. It just goes just north of Puerto Rico and then it impacts the east coast of the US. So we're going to have to look at those models here in a minute. But some of these are definitely not agreeing with that main black line. Majority of these have it heading west northwestward, which again have it very, very close to the Caribbean. So Caribbean definitely needs to be on high alert and get prepared if you are in the path of the storm, as I expect it to become a tropical storm before it hits the Leeward Islands here. We definitely could be seeing some more intensification throughout the storm throughout the next 48 hours, and might even get a named tropical storm here by Sunday. Here's the GFS model, the 12Z run for Invest 91L right down here. As we play this model here, again, things change. So this model is very different from yesterday's model that we looked at. The GFS has it becoming a tropical storm, even a Category 1 hurricane by Tuesday morning. And again, this looks to be very slowly moving throughout this weekend, so it won't actually reach the Leeward Islands according to the GFS until late next week. So late next week, the GFS has us impacting the Leeward Islands as a hurricane, potentially Cat 2 hurricane here. So pretty strong storm hitting the Leeward Islands as it can. And then this model has it continuing to intensify as it heads over those islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands as well. It heads just north of Puerto Rico. Still a strong hurricane next weekend. So next Sunday, it continues as a strong hurricane and then starts to weaken as it starts to, again, go over some of those islands and then kind of hits Florida as a tropical storm. So very interesting model run from the GFS. As we look at the European model, the Euro is very interesting with hurricanes. During the hurricane season, the Euro model is always a big boom or bust kind of model. So the Euro sometimes will overhype storms. Sometimes the Euro will completely ignore storm signals. It's kind of a weird model, but I will say the Euro is good for tracks. So the Euro model has this much more south, impacting the Leeward Islands. We don't really know an intensity from this model, but we know it impacts the Leeward Islands and then heads over the Dominican Republic and over Haiti as well, and then heads somewhere around the Cuba area and the Gulf. And then again, this is going to be next weekend into the week that's into the September 14th week. So kind of similar to the GFS track wise. Looking at the CMC model, some of these models still have it showing as a fish storm. So again, the fish storm means it just heads out to sea and doesn't really impact any land. The CMC model has this becoming a tropical storm by early next week, and the CMC model has it turning northward. This is the far as we can go with this model, which is 240 hours out, but it has it as a strong tropical storm north of the Caribbean. The Icon model here today has us becoming a hurricane by early next week, so pretty consistent with these other models. And then has it heading northwestward, so again, kind of heading a bit north of the Caribbean, and this is the furthest we can go with this model. GFS is about the most long-range model we can get for hurricanes. Actually has another storm behind it, this Icon model, but this model has a strong hurricane very close to the Caribbean. So again, those Caribbean islands need to stay on very high alert for the storm. This could be our next major hurricane, and again, it is September. So September is peak hurricane season, as well as October. I will have more updates as they come in for this storm. Things will change over the next week or so as we get more details and the models change. Things will change. So those U.S. states that are possible to get impacted by hurricanes need to be on very high alert as plans change very quickly, forecasts change and stuff like that. So make sure to subscribe to this channel to stay updated on Invest 91L. Turn on post notifications. You'll get a notification as soon as I post a new video updating you the latest on hurricane season. Hit that like button down below, leave a comment, and share this video with anyone that might want the latest updates on this hurricane season. But as always, I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe.